meeting of the Joint Special School Building Committee to order via Zoom. It's Thursday, November 19th, 2020 at 7 p.m. As chairman of the Joint Special School Building Committee, I find that due to the state of emergency declared by the governor as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, and in accordance with the governor's emergency order number 12 pursuant to Executive Order 2020-04, this public body is authorized to meet electronically. Please note that there is no physical location to observe and listen contemporaneously to this meeting, which was authorized pursuant to the governor's emergency order. However, in accordance with the emergency order, I am confirming that we are providing public access to the meeting by telephone with additional access possibilities by video or other electronic means. To access Zoom, please refer to the agenda or to the city's website for the meeting link. To join by phone, dial 1-929-205-6099. Meeting ID is 818-1720-6410. Password is 367641. We previously gave notice to the public of the necessary information for accessing the meeting through public postings. Instructions have also been provided on the City of Nashua's website at www.nashuanh.gov and publicly noticed at City Hall and the Hunt Memorial Library. If anyone has a problem accessing the meeting via phone or channel 99, please call 603-821-2049 and they will help you connect. In the event the public is unable to access the meeting via the methods mentioned, the meeting will be adjourned and rescheduled. Please note that all votes are taken during the meeting will be done by roll call vote. We'll start tonight's meeting by having the clerk call the roll. Sean?
Alderman Dowd.
Present. I'm here alone and I can hear everyone and I'm practicing social distancing.
Alderman Harriet Gathright.
I am present. I am in this room alone and I'm practicing social distancing and I can hear you.
Alderman Klee.
I'm here. I'm alone. I'm practicing social distancing and I can hear the proceedings.
Alderman Liu.
I'm here alone and I can hear you.
Alderman Wilshire.
Sorry, I'm here, I'm alone, and I can hear you.
Ms. Bishop.
I'm here, I'm alone, and I apologize for my camera being off. The children have stolen the better computer. But they're leaving me alone in the room right now, so I'm good.
Okay.
Ms. Brown.
Hello, I am here. I am not alone in the room, but I have an earbuds, and so no one else can hear the proceedings of the meeting.
Ms. Giglio.
Hi, I'm here. I'm alone. I can hear you, and I'm practicing social distancing.
Mr. Guarino, I believe is going to be late.
He's going to be late.
Ms. Raymond.
Hi, I'm here. I can hear everybody. I'm not alone. I have family members just off camera eating dinner because my office is the dining room. But I have my earbuds in, so they will not unduly influence my decisions this evening.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum.
All right, thank you. The previous minutes meeting of October 22nd, 2020. If there are no objections, I will waive the reading of the minutes, accept the minutes of the meeting of October 22nd, 2020, and place them on file. Remarks by the chairman. Today we did a walkthrough with Harriman of Fairgrounds and Pennachuck, and made sure that we were catching everything that we needed to get done. Not that we will catch 100% of things, as we know, all construction finds things as you go along. Fairgrounds is coming along very, very well. It's looking like there will be no one in the school before, at a minimum, January 19th, and a substantial amount of by that time. Also, Marcia Bagley was with us today to discuss the special needs students that would be attending fairgrounds and when they will be attending, and made sure that the everything was in line with what those students need. Remarks by school administration.
Nothing at this time.
Okay. Items for discussion and approval of invoice.
There we go. All right, for tonight's agenda, a little more brief than it's been in the past couple weeks, but some good updates happening. I'll give you a brief construction administration update. It reflects on the work that we witnessed today and work with Harvey, and Harvey will also give you some updates for Fairgrounds as well, I believe, on their presentation. We'll be looking at some design milestones and updates at Pennachuck Middle School and the new middle school, and then the usual project schedule, and show you where we're at with that for the design and construction elements. So construction administration over at Fairgrounds. As mentioned in previous meetings, submittals are product reviews and reviewing the items that are going into the project. At this point, we reviewed over 140 of them for the Fairgrounds School. Those are progressing quite well. There's still some that have been in more recently that we need to finish, but we're trying to keep on top of those as they come in fast and furiously. RFIs are requests for information on clarifications on drawings and items that are found in the field that might be different than we expect. At this point, we've received over 40 of them and have responded to all of them at this point. We're caught up as of at least this afternoon. Again, they can come in after that point, but we feel that we're caught up at this point. More recent proposals that have been placed on the project that since our last meeting, and I think Harvey will be speaking about these later on, but to give you a brief summary of what they are, PCO number 11 is for a mop sink, a new mop sink in the janitor's closet. There's some work going on in there, and the mop sink that was in the janitor's closet is one of the only big ones they have in the school. And so we look to provide a more updated mop sink in a better location for utilization. I think, as Harvey will report, they were able to utilize some allowance that they had for that work. And so it's a no cost add to the project, but it does equate to almost $8,800 from their contingency. And again, they'll report more a little bit, I think, in their presentation or when that time comes. There's also a newer one that was discovered fairly recently on the fire alarm control panel. That one is for a little more money, as you can see in the presentation. It's a little over $51,000. The proposed panel, fire alarm panel that was the new fire alarm panel that was going to be installed, had some constraints to it that did not allow for them to monitor the smoke detection system. And so we reviewed an option where we could put a module in support of that panel, and it would be able to control separate devices. It would be a smoke detection system and then our fire alarm system, our device. The one that we ended up recommending, which is the lower cost one, actually is twofold better because it's lower cost, but it also allows you to have single devices that are dual purpose in the ceilings. And so I think Ken will speak a little bit on that when it's his to come up. Some more recent design items that we've been reviewing. There was some conflicts with some of the new corridor walls that are going in or have started to go in. And an existing heating element that was not needed in a corridor actually encroached on some of the required clearances of the corridors. And so we've reviewed that. We reviewed it prior to today, but we also looked at it in the field today. had made a proposal to make some adjustments, get rid of the heating elements that aren't needed in the existing corridor, and open up that corridor a little bit, so that the clearances are met as the minimum standards for egress out of those corridors. We do expect that might be a little bit of cost that comes out of contingency, but that has yet to be determined. We are reviewing a couple of gym doors in the existing gym. They do not meet ADA clearances, and some of these doors that are being utilized are for things like voting when that time comes back at the school. And so I think Alderman Dowd and the school thought it would be best to provide doors that are adequate enough to get people in with handicap accessibility clearly. And so we reviewed those at the site, and we're working on a proposal to issue so that those doors can be widened and replaced. And then one other design item that we've worked on recently is the new building signage for the school. If you've been by there's a big, I like to call it an oversized street sign for signage on the building. It's a big green sign.
Not there anymore.
Okay, it is gone now. Yeah. And so there was an allowance that we had put in the project design to replace that sign. And what you're seeing in that image in this slide here is a kind of a rendering of what that is going to look like. It is a composite metal panel that projects off the wall a few inches, and then there's aluminum letters that will actually pop off that as well. It's a durable sign. It's actually going to be quite an attractive sign once it's put up, and we think it'll put a nice appeal to the front of the building that'll really draw you toward that main entrance, which you can see off to the left there. The new canopy that will be installed. It's not quite there yet, but I know Harvey's working feverishly to get that stuff in. All right, over at Pennachuck, that's the next project in queue to be hang out for construction documents. More recently, since our last meeting, we did have a second planning board meeting. I think as we spoke about last time, the first planning board meeting had some items that needed to be addressed before they would warrant approval or request or give us approval on the site plan. So we had meetings with traffic engineers and also city entities like the city engineer and others. And spoke about the items that were in question. I'll show you those on the next slide, some of the items that were questions that we needed to address. But we did receive planning board approval for the site and are working to finalize those documents now that we have the approval for them. And again, I'll show you that plan in a moment so you can kind of get a handle on where that ended up. In those meetings, we also had meetings with the principal and vice principal. We followed up with them. With this is probably the, I don't know, sixth or seventh time. We've also had a meeting with them yesterday via a phone call that I had with the principal over there on some additional items that they're interested in, and we're looking at those items right now and seeing how we get those into the documents if they fit into the budgets and design scopes. The other thing that's happening, as I mentioned, was the construction document submission. So that's coming up in the next month or so. And so we're pushing very hard on our end to make sure we get all of the elements included into our documents. As Alderman Dowd had spoke of a little bit earlier ago, we did have an on-site visit today. And that allowed us to identify a few additional items that needed to be addressed. Things like some doors that are starting to rust through that weren't picked up, and just kind of pointing out those elements to make sure we get them in there. And it was an excellent walkthrough, very, very informational to make sure we get all the items that are expected for this school. All right, so here's the latest plan for the that was approved through the planning board. I tried to highlight the items that were kind of the additional items above and beyond. from the original submission. And so a couple of those items are the items like in blue with a blue star is a queue lane. We originally had, I think I can point on here too. We originally did not have this like pull off lane that allows cars to queue, drop off the students at the front door. And what was discovered was that, you're going to have parents pulling in here with cars and kind of blocking this lane, which would not allow vehicles to bypass them and get into the parking lot area if they needed to. And what we probably end up would see is probably they'd go into the oncoming traffic to try to get by those, and that did not appear to be a safe situation. So we reviewed the site plan as it stood and found a nice opportunity to give pull a little bit away from there and give a nice queuing lane along the edge there so they can queue and then come up to the building and drop off. The green stars here that you see, there's two different locations. There's one in the parking lot area and then one over here at the bus entry or the bus loop. That's a real simple change. All that was changing the direction arrows. These two here were pointing both down, up on plan. And there's actually needs to be two-way traffic here so the buses from the north can come into the site and loop around the bus loop and head out. The ones from the south will come in and use this secondary entrance, but we needed two-way traffic up here. So all we do is flip the arrows. And I know it's hard to see probably on my screen, but just trust me, those arrows pointing both directions. And then over in the parking lot area, this actually had two-way traffic, and that didn't actually make sense with the parent queuing and drop-off coming this direction. We actually don't want people to try to sneak out and kind of go in against oncoming traffic. So we're going to make that one-way traffic. So they come in, they park, and when they leave, they're going to go the same direction, loop around the loop and out the site. And then the final item is we actually didn't show, there is an existing dumpster pad that we're going to be removing to put the bus loop in, and we didn't get that into our original plan. So now we're locating a new dumpster pad and enclosure over here. So that'll be fenced off. I think the existing one actually isn't closed off with fencing, but the new one will be. The other items that were actually the bigger items that they wanted to talk about at this most recent planning board was the traffic patterns at the intersection here. And so Vanessa and Associates was brought on board, their traffic engineer. They were the ones that did the traffic study initially for the projects. And they came in and helped with that presentation and discussion. And so that is what you're seeing here is kind of the revised. We've all kind of seen this a little bit and to some level. This is a little bit revised. A couple of the items that are revised is there is now an on-site signal that will be timed and triggered with not only bus traffic leaving, but also be coordinated with this signal so that when buses are going to pull off, getting ready to leave, the parents that are dropping off will not, kind of won't block them in so that buses can't get out. The buses will trigger the signal. And then when this one turns green, it'll allow the buses to leave first. And they're still doing final engineering. So how that works exactly is in their court. But because it may time out so that only, maybe if this traffic starts to back up, there'll be a loop that, stops the buses for a moment, allows normal traffic pattern to happen. But anyways, it's an on-site signal that was an addition to what we may have seen in the past. And this signal is going in and was recommended, from city entities as well as the engineer. And then another item is the turn lane. I know in the past we've seen this right turn lane coming onto the site. There was concerns from the planning board of potential too long of a crossing for the students. So they're going to try to design the intersection, once they finally design it, with only just a single lane coming, I guess that's northbound. And if with their traffic counts, if they find that the queuing will end up backing up too far and too close to the highway here, they will end up incorporating that back in with the city engineer's approval. But the intent is to try to get rid of it so they don't have a very long span across the street. And again, this will have a crosswalk signal and all that too. So those are planned to be in there as well. All right, the new middle school. I think the big milestone there right now is we have finished our design development submission, and we have issued that to Harvey for their estimate on the project at the design development stage. Now, we actually issued that on October 30th. They've been issuing RFIs and questions based on those drawings. Because again, they're not final documents, so there's some things that kind of might not be totally clear in there yet. And so we responded. Unless any came in today, I've caught up on all those that came in. And then they are looking to hopefully have pricing come the first of the month, I believe is what they're shooting for. And then we're scheduling, we're getting ready for planning board submission over there in a near meeting coming up. I think in the past, I might have reported that being in the December timeframe. It might actually be closer to January at this point, with just some of the final dots being added to the I's and T's being crossed. So we're working on plans over there to finalize those. All right, the schedule. Again, by that red line, you can kind of see approximately where we are. The new Nashua Middle School is in the construction document phase. It's a little bit slow during this time period because we're kind of waiting to make sure the estimates fall in line and we're not going too far into the construction documents that we have to pull back a bunch of work if we found something that was out of sorts. But those are being progressed on. I'm going backwards up the schedule here. Penachuk is, like I said, very far along, and we're looking to push that out, the construction documents by the end of the month. We're navigating that carefully and making sure that we have everything there. We don't want to issue partial drawings out there. There's a lot of work to finalize, a few things that we added today. We just want to make sure all that stuff's included so that we have a nice complete set going out. But right now it's looking good for the end of December. And then Fairgrounds Middle School, again, is in construction, going quite well. I know Ken is anxious to show you a little bit of that going on. I saw his presentation. It looks great. And then being on site today, really looking good out there. I'm quite excited for that to get finalized. It looks real good, and having the principal come to these meetings and stuff and give some feedback is going great. It's excellent out there. All right, that's it.
Okay, thank you, Jamie. Now we'll have the construction manager's report from Harvey. You have a question, Alderman Clee?
Yes, I do. I think it wasn't something that I missed before. Why did we move the crosswalk from the location to where it is to the opposite side? Most of the kids are coming from the north, which means now they got to cross two streets.
Well, now they have the light to cross two streets, and the professional design engineers put it there.
Okay.
So when we get to review the actual design of the intersection, you can ask that question.
Okay, I just was curious. I didn't know if I missed something along the way, or that's fine. That's fine. Thank you.
Okay. Jamie?
Yes, thank you. I don't know the actual answer because they're the traffic engineers. My expectation is that now coming from the north, there's going to be 3 turn lanes. You know, there's a turn lane and then 2 additional lanes wide. So they made, and I know they're redoing the crosswalk on, I forget the name of the road to the,
Ferry.
Ferry Road. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Okay. I know they're redoing that crosswalk. And so that they're going to have a signal there to cross that one and then cross the other way, but you'll be crossing less, width of traffic across. I don't know that the factual reason, but I'm pretty sure that's the reason. And like Alderman Dowd said, they'll be able to speak to that once we start doing the final designs on that intersection.
All right. All set?
Yes, thank you.
All right. Ken, are you going to go ahead and give the presentation?
Ready. share my screen here.
Go full screen.
How's that?
There you go.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Alderman Dowd. So Jamie did a great job running through the design side and how he is helping us manage the construction at Fairgrounds in Pennachuck. I'll just do a brief update on what's going on, the changes that happened over this month at Fairgrounds and Pennachuck. So just a quick update at Pennachuck. Just a reminder of the scope that we were performing there. We had some minor interior renovation of the main entry vestibule and the admin area. We've now moved out of those areas. There's a few odds and ends that are left to be completed. We do have 2 lights that will be on site within the next week or so, and that will be completed. We were waiting for the new cabinet unit heater that's placed just inside of the vestibule. The installation is in progress right now, and that should be complete within the next few days. The new bulletproof transaction window that was installed, we were waiting for the microphone to be installed, but that was installed last Friday. I believe that was used today while we were on site to visit the site to review for the new school. And the duct cleaning of the existing ductwork was completed this week. So we're in good shape over there. We just have a couple of odds and ends, again, as I mentioned, to complete inside. At the exterior, we did perform some site work and utility work to get ahead of the game for next year's new construction project. We will be turning the power back on at the portables sometime this week or early next week. So we're in great shape over at Pennachuck, and we're getting ready and anxious to begin the work next spring and get that school up to shape as well. Moving over to Fairgrounds, just a brief update of what's going on over there. So we were performing some site work and the portable classrooms. The bulk of that work was completed this fall, and I'll get into more detail in the next slides coming up. The interior scope that we are working on this fall, and as Jamie mentioned, we're working with Principal Coffey and her staff, and they've been great just to get through all the work that we need to get ready for the January 19th. I'm not sure if that is the exact date, but we're pushing to make sure that all that the spaces will be turned over and ready for the students and staff to use and teach on the 19th. Any additional work will be minor, that won't be complete, and that'll be coordinated and performed off shift to not introduce any trouble with the staff. So again, to some of the major site work and exterior improvements. I know we went through a lot of these items last month during our meeting, but the base paving has been completed. The final paving is substantially complete. There are a few areas of the parking lot, especially in the front up near Cleveland Street, that will be top coated and finished off next spring before we pull off the site. The new curbing at the bus loop and all of the islands has been installed. You'll see some nice photos of that in the coming slides. All the new parking areas, the fire lane, and the striping for the parking areas has been completed as well. There's a new drainage swale that was part of Harriman's design that was at the rear of the building that was completed in the last 2 weeks. And all of the minor odds and ends and finishing touches, there's some nice new benches that will be located at the front of the building. Some of the fencing and guardrails, bollard covers, all those type of finishing touches will be completed in the spring before we get off the site. Landscaping as well. Those are all the things that everybody likes to see, and we try to get those items in very last to make sure that everything is looking tip top when we pull off site. But again, this is the construction phasing plan. As anyone who's seen, I believe Alderman Cleve visited the site with Alderman Dowd. I'm sure she can attest that we are truly working all over the building. So I know this looks a little confusing, so we won't go into too much detail, but I'll just try to kind of walk everybody through what to expect here. So in these light blue areas in each the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade wings, those will all be turned over in January when the students return. Those will all be completed spaces when the students return, as well as the green corridors that exit to the exterior parking lots, and also the art, the CTE, and the art rooms, the art storage, the CTE, and the EH rooms will all be turned up. Music room will all be turned over in January. Everything else, this area in the middle here, this purple area, this is one of the areas that we were able to actually take advantage of the pandemic and capture ahead of time. These areas are not being turned over until April and June, but getting in there and being able to perform a lot of the heavy demo work and saw cutting, as you'll see in the next slides, is very beneficial to do now and to not interrupt any of the teaching that's going on. And now the yellow area right here, this is the new addition and the admin area. This is the new front entry of the school. This is where I think you'll be able to really, this will really bring a lot to the how the school looks as you drive up, and you'll start to see some of that take shape in the following slides. So as I mentioned here, these are some of the on-site exterior site work progress photos. So as I meant, so starting upper left-hand corner, this is the drainage swale that I had mentioned. This is at the rear of the building. This will help any runoff water and really just make the site more sustainable. Upper right-hand corner, you're looking at the new parent and drop-off. I know this is probably going to be the area of most interest. This is where all the students will come in and out of the school. And then the bottom right, this is the fire lane that comes off the 7th grade wing. This is, you'll notice we discussed adding riprap, which is basically large crushed stone to either side of the fire lane. This was at the request of the maintenance department, and this will help with plowing and future maintenance of the exterior area. Starting again up in the upper left-hand corner, this is the existing playground that will be remaining. You can see our construction fencing that's up right now to protect anybody that is using the playground. That will be taken down once we leave the site. You can see some of the ballers with the signs. I know they look kind of rough right now, but in the spring, as I mentioned earlier, we'll be adding plastic covers to these to kind of dress things up and make the site look more complete. As I mentioned here, the middle photo here, this is the new bus loop. Part of the change order that you folks approved last month was to replace all of the curbing at the bus loop. I think this really adds a lot to the design of the front of the building, it being the focal point. In the spring, we'll also be adding irrigation to this area as well to make sure that this grass is upkept throughout the life of the building. To the right here, we have, it's a walking path. This is actually down by the back of the school. This is it's access to the Wilson Street neighborhood. I think a lot of students use this to access the rear of the building. And in the next few slides, you'll see this is kind of adjacent to where the portable classroom areas are at the rear of the building. Bottom left-hand corner, this is another view of the parking lot. You can see the light poles have not been installed yet. We're going to, those should be arriving within the next few weeks. So those will be installed and in place and operating before the students and teachers arrive back after the holidays. And again, if anybody has any questions, I'll take them at the end. Just feel free to just make note of which items you have questions on. I'll be happy to answer them. As I mentioned here, so the portable classrooms, we kind of touched on these last month. Not a whole lot is new here. The only remaining work that we have here, you can see the ramp going between the two buildings. We've actually contracted somebody to come in and construct a canopy with a roof over it to make sure that the students accessing these will be shielded from any snow or rain. And it'll also help the maintenance department with maintaining that and keeping that safe for access. these will be substantially complete for student occupancy in January. As I mentioned earlier, this is the new front of the building. The front area here, the principal's office and these 3 offices, these are this is part of the new addition that you'll see in the following photos. You'll start to, I'll have more photos next month of the interior portion of this. Right now, it's mainly dirt, and we're still performing some of the under slab scope of work. We anticipate placing the slab on grade in here and start constructing walls within the next 3 weeks or so. Just on the picture on the right here, this is just to give you an idea of what students will see when they come back to school. I believe we are going to install a portion of the finished flooring to an extent, but this is a hard partition. So basically this wall right here runs along, if you can see my cursor, the new gang bathroom all the way down the hallway across from where the current principal's office is. This is just to delineate safely our construction work area from students and staff. When this admin area is complete, we'll be taking down the wall and everybody can see the new space. So just a quick update here. So all the demolition and abatement has been completed. The under slab work is 95% complete. We do have some foundation work that is to be completed. I believe that is scheduled for tomorrow. Once those concrete footings are complete, we'll begin the masonry construction to construct the new walls at the interior. And then we'll place the concrete slab on grade so we can begin the wall construction inside. So this whole area is really going to start to take shape over the next month or so. Again, this is just a view of the rendering at the front of the building. You can see from, I think, this number 4 to 5 is the new addition, the principal's office, and then those 3 offices you can see there. And here's just a couple of progress photos taken from, I believe, 2 weeks ago of the masonry construction. So here's Principal Coffee's new office on the left here, and then on the bottom right is some of the smaller offices in the admin office. Another space that will be turned over in January, you can see in the upper left-hand corner, this is one of the art rooms. This is a photo taken last week. This is just to give you guys an idea of what goes into the work that goes into for the under slab plumbing. This slab has been placed, it was placed yesterday. So we'll be able to complete the walls in this area, and we'll be able to turn that over in January as discussed. The next photo here is the CTE classroom. This is just a view of, there's really not a whole lot more to be done. As I noted during our site walk today, this isn't really one of the areas of concern, but this is an area that will be turned over in January. And on the right, you can see here, this is an EH classroom. Not shown in the just off the right of the photo is a quiet room. This is also ready for finishes as well, and will be turned over in January. So again, another area that will be turned over in January are the student commons areas. These are probably the spaces that will garner the most interest. Right here, so in the upper left-hand corner, you can see this is the 7th grade wing. So you can see that the colors have been dressed up. We do have new soffits here. All that's missing right now are the lights and some casework. These areas are going to basically be used for collaborative working areas. There's going to be marker boards, and you can see in the lower left there'll be TVs on the wall. So this is going to be a nice space where if teachers want to change things up and take their classes outbound, this is going to be a good area for students to work together in.
Ken, just point out the skylights that were not obvious before, but now we're throwing a lot of light in those areas.
Right. So if you can see right here, this used to be kind of a dreary space, and next month I'll include a before picture so you can really see the transformation. But I believe the skylights were also replaced recently, and it really does brighten up the space. You can see there's 4 skylights in each student common. So I think this is going to be a really nice space for people to utilize. Again, so all the lockers used to be in the center of the room. Now they'll be located in the corridors here. The upper right-hand corner is a good example of a locker bay where the lockers will be installed. We do expect those to hit the job site early January and installed for when the students arrive.
And they're lockers that can take backpacks.
Correct. There are double tier lockers.
Yep.
This is the view of one of the student commons areas that is a little less further along. At the time of these photos, the paint had not begun. The paint began today in the 6th grade wing. So again, this is just another view of things to come. We do have some nice collaboration and workrooms in each student commons area does have the same layout with a special education room at the end as well. This is one of the, as I mentioned earlier, this is the center octagon area, as we like to call it. This is one of the areas where we've actually been able to take over earlier and perform a lot of the messy and noisy work. This is, again, the math intervention. There's a mechanical room, a storage room. This is where all the robotics and the drafting is. There's a lot of work that needs to be taken place in this area. There are combined rooms here. I believe the science rooms, the mechanical room, and the math intervention will be turned over in April 2021, and the remainder of this space will be turned over in June of 2021. So we're trying to get in here and take care of a lot of the messy and noisy work before any students return to the building. Right now, the demolition and abatement has been complete. So if anybody can remember, there used to be hollow metal frames here, and you can see that all the interior walls have been demolished. So this is going to be a really new look to this area. Right now, we're just performing layout, framing, and mechanical, electrical, and fire protection scope at the interior. So again, you'll be able to see more progress as we progress this month. Today we were performing saw cutting. I wish I had a photo of that. You can see there's a massive trench through the middle of this room right now. So
yeah, I took some pictures of the saw cuts.
So there's I'm very glad that we are not doing this work while class is in session. So it's been a silver lining, but I think this is important that we're getting this done right now.
The amazing part was exactly how big this area is now that all the walls are down. It's amazing.
Okay, does anybody have any questions? Anything that I reviewed? Any area?
Questions from anyone? No? Okay.
Yeah.
So you want to present the change order? Ken? You're on mute.
Okay. So as Jamie reviewed this change order earlier, this is a potential, again, this is a potential change order. I know that we throw out a lot of acronyms. This is called a PCO, and this is PCO number 12. This is a potential change order, and it has not been approved until I present it to this group, and it is approved by this group. So Jamie went into this a little bit before in detail. This is for the upgrade to the fire alarm control panel. This gives us a dual purpose monitoring for smoke and carbon monoxide. This that is actually a requirement by the Nashua Fire Department. The system that was purchased with the job only carries smoke detection. So the two options that were presented, one was to use the current system. That was roughly $84,000, and the system that's being presented and recommended is $51,000, $86.90. And that will give us dual monitoring for carbon monoxide and smoke detection.
Ken, do you need to have that approved before our December meeting? Because my authorization stops at 50. We
Yes.
can get authorization tonight to allow this work to a not to exceed for 52,000 if you want.
That would be preferred. This is a firm price, not to exceed.
Okay, then we can make it, what was the price again? 51?
$51,086.90.
90 cents. I'd like to entertain a motion from someone to allow the change order for the fire alarm control panel system to amount of $51,086.90. Who'd like to make that motion? I see
Linda, so moved.
Mrs. Raymond making the motion.
No,
Is there any discussion?
Miss Harriet Gothright said it before you noticed me, so
Yeah.
it's Miss
Yeah.
Harriet Gothright's motion.
Okay, so there was motion made by Alderman Harriet Gothright.
Yes.
Any discussion? Alderman Lou.
Thank you. Is that $51,000 more than was originally projected, or rather budgeted?
Yes, because it's a different system that's more capable and it's a requirement of the fire department. So it's something that we found out as we were getting into the system. So it's the addition is the additional things that this system will entail that weren't envisioned originally.
No, I understand why it's being done, but it is $51,000 more than originally budgeted, correct?
Right, and
Thank you.
it's not an issue with the contingency we have in the school.
I just wanted to understand. Thank you.
Any other questions? If not, will the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman Dowd,
Yes.
Alderman Harry Gathright,
Yes.
Alderman Clee,
Yes.
Alderman Lou,
Yes.
Alderman Wilshire,
Yes.
Ms. Bishop,
Yes.
Ms. Brown,
Yes.
Ms. Gilio,
Yes.
Mr. Guarino here yet? I guess not. Ms. Raymond,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, that passes 9-0.
Thank you. Okay, anything else from Harvey tonight? Nope.
Yes, there is one more change order that is just kind of a bookkeeping thing. So again, just another acronym for you. This is a PCCO. This is a prime contract change order. So this is a document that is comprised of previously approved potential change orders that something like you folks just approved. So this is really just to finalize things for billing for next month. So PCCO number 3 is comprised of PR 14, which is some of the exterior site work items that were already approved last week by the group. Last month by the group, and this was the additional paving and island revisions. And that value that was approved by the group was $42,188.08. And the second item, which is more of an accounting item for the Harvey end, is PCO number 11. This was the mop sink that Jamie had referred to earlier. And this is a $0 change order. This is just to authorize Harvey Construction for use of the construction contingency. So the total value of PCCO number 3 that we are presenting to the group for approval is $42,188.08.
What's the cents?
8.
8 cents. Okay.
I
So
don't make up the math.
again, these things are things we've already approved. Some of them that Sean and I approved to keep the thing moving, but they've all been previously approved individually by the joint special. So I'd now like a motion to approve PCCO number 3 to amount of $42,188.08, just to keep the books clean. Who'd like to make that motion? All right, this time I saw Heather.
Yeah,
This
so
is Raymond.
moved.
All right, so any questions on this? Alderman Lou?
Thank you. I'm confused when it's called a no cost amendment. I was originally concerned that it's a $9,000 sink, and that seems surprising to me. I've never heard of. It's hard to imagine, but so the construction contingency is already. Yeah, why is it called a no cost?
Well, just one thing, we haven't got to that one yet. We're doing the one before that. We're doing PCCO 3. PCO 4, I think, or no, 11 is the mop sink. Is that right, Ken?
So Alderman Dowd, so this PCCO number 3, this change order is made up of PCOs 10 and 11.
Oh, okay, okay.
The mop sink is a $0 cost, and just to clarify, so we have a construction contingency which is made up of when we run into unforeseen items that weren't accounted for in the document process. Harvey Construction has a bucket of money that we can utilize to pay for the changes such as this.
Okay.
I know that.
So that's why it's a no cost to the project. It's no additional cost to us. It's coming out of the construction contingency. And also, this is a huge sink, deep sink, and it includes all of the things they have to do to remove everything that's in there now and install the sink and do all the work to the area that the sink is going into. So it's not like a kitchen sink. This thing's the size of a large desk. And Jamie, do you want to elaborate?
Yeah, I was just gonna note that it's not just the cost for the sink. There's slab removals, there's piping that goes underground, water lines, patching of the wall for the old spot. So it's not just a $9,000 sink. It's all the work and the sink.
Right.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions? So this would include the sink as well as so this is 10 and 11. All right. So will the clerk please call the roll?
And to clarify, it's not like a $10,000 hammer. I think the Air Force developed that years and years ago.
I can tell you a whole story about that one, why they cost so much, but anyway, go ahead.
Okay, Alderman Dowd.
Yes.
Alderman Harry Gathright.
Yes.
Alderman Clee.
Yes.
Alderman Lou.
Yes. Okay.
Alderman Wilshire.
Yes.
Ms. Bishop.
Yes.
Ms. Brown.
Yes.
Ms. Gilio.
Yes.
Ms. Raymond.
Yes.
And Chairman, that was approved 9-0.
Thank you. All right. Ken, all set?
Nothing further. Thank you.
All right. Next item is invoices. Sean?
Yeah, so all the invoices tonight are again listed both on the financial sheets and on your agenda. I'll just be reading them from the agenda. The first one is to Allied in the amount of $16,703.51. That was for work with the security company in and around the portable classrooms. We have 3 invoices from Harriman for each of the 3 middle schools they've been working on. That totals $443,348.58. We have 2 invoices from Harvey for work at Fairgrounds Middle and Pennachuck. Those total $966,183.88. We have 1 invoice from John Turner Consulting. That's our testing company. That was for $440. We're skipping the Page Street invoice. We did not receive an invoice from them this month. Next was Pennachuck Waterworks. That was an amount of $300. That was for testing associated with design of so it was water pressure for the design of the sprinkler system. Finally, we have 2 invoices from William Scotsman. That's the company who provided the portables. That totaled $8,535.15. And all that came to a grand total. Let's find my sheet here. Of $1,435,511.12.
Okay, so I'd like a motion to approve payment of the invoices for Harvey Construction, $966,183.88. Harriman A&E, $443,348.58. William Scottman, $8,535.15. Allied Universal, $16,703.51. Pennachuck Waterworks, $300, and John Turner Consulting, $440, for a total of $1,435,511.12. Somebody make a motion. Alderman Wiltshire makes the motion. Any
I'll make a
questions?
motion, to approve the $1,435,511.12 on the aforementioned invoices.
Thank you. Any questions on the invoices? I will tell you that the $300 to the Pennachuck, they were testing the water pressure for down by the new school, and it came out perfect for us. So we now know that we have the water pressure down there for the school, and we don't need pumps. I don't see anybody saying no. So that was good news. So any other questions on the invoices? Nope. All right. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman Dowd,
Yes.
Alderman Harry Gathright,
Yes.
Alderman Clee,
Yes.
Alderman Lou,
Yes.
Alderman Wilshire,
Yes.
Ms. Bishop,
Yes.
Ms. Brown,
Yes.
Ms. Gilio,
Yes.
and Ms. Raymond.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, that was approved, 9 votes to 0.
Thank you. Okay, comments by committee members. Does anybody have any comments? I do know that Alderman Clee took a tour of Fairground. Yeah, I thought you might want to say something.
Thank you, Alderman Dowd. Yes, as you were starting to say, I took an incredible tour of Fairgrounds, and I was quite impressed. The rooms that they showed, for instance, the common area, was just beautiful. And I think the patients, I'm sorry, I think the students are going to find getting around the school is so much more spacious. I'd never seen it prior to this, but I could just feel the difference in the school. There were some issues that had to be fixed because of fire code and so on, and those will be fixed along the way. But I was really quite impressed with all the work that was being done, and to the extent, I mean, for the most part, it feels like it's being gutted and redone, right from where the lockers are going to be to the spacious hallways, and even some of the rooms that we were able to go into, the workshop where they're going to be doing projects and so on like that. It was quite amazing, just really, and I recommend it. And I know every time I say things like that, I can see the cringing on Alderman Dowd's face, but I recommend everybody take a tour and get to see it.
Small groups.
Small groups, definitely. And I got to wear a hard hat for the first time in my life. And I thank Gary for allowing me to use his hat. So thank you.
Any other comments from any aldermen or school board members? Sorry. Sean, you're neither one of those, but go ahead.
I was going to wait till everybody else had a chance. Alderman Dow, did you want to talk about the meeting we had with the state regarding the school building aid? I could give a brief synopsis.
Yeah, why don't you give since you had to fill out those foolish forms, why don't you give a synopsis?
Okay, back in July 1st, we had to submit forms for school building aid. And we're hopeful that there will actually be some school building aid this year. In the meeting with the state people, as Alderman Dowd was there, Jamie Ouellette actually gave a great presentation on the project. And see, Mr. Donovan was there as well, and 2 people from the state. The upshot is any construction that's done before approval is not subject, or not, you cannot get state aid for it. So the Fairgrounds Middle School project is off the books, and we will not get anything for that. So they asked a series of questions, and there are a handful of things we had to redo. Nothing major. And but then once they receive that information over the coming months, they're going to rank all the projects. I think there are 15 or 16 projects in the entire state. And depending on how that goes with the state legislator and the governor, then the projects will be funded in order of that priority. So potentially Nashua could receive up to 40% of the construction costs for this project. So that's pretty significant, especially for the middle school, but also for Pennachuck. And hope to get all that additional paperwork up to them before Thanksgiving, and we should be good to go.
So before anybody spends that money, as Alderman Gathright and others that function at the state level, Alderman Clee, there's a lot of hoops that have to be jumped through before we even have a shot at any of that money. And it doesn't necessarily mean that we'd get 40% of the cost. That's the max. So it's a potential, but again, I wouldn't go out and buy a pack of gum yet on any of the money that we're going to get from the state, especially under the circumstances. So if we get it later downstream, it will be good. It'll have to be used for school construction. So the potential, if we get any substantial amount of money, is that we might be able to move into renovating Birch Hill and Main Dunstable, which have multiple issues: security, air quality, et cetera. So they're next on the list. But there's a lot of hoops to go through before we get there. But we just want to give you the understanding that Sean's filling out like 14 books worth of paperwork to send to the state. And the woman that does all this evaluation is a team of 1. So, she wins most of the arguments. We'll keep you posted if we hear anything else on that. Alderman Gathright, did you want to speak? Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute.
I
Okay.
got so interested in what Sean was saying that I totally kind of forgot what I wanted, but I know what it is now. I want a tour, and I'm sure there's others. Yeah, we want to see, before it's completely finished.
Yeah, anybody just send me an email and we'll set it up. I just have to give Mike a heads up, and not a problem. You'll be amazed. And I'm also going to be sending out some additional pictures I took today when we did our tour, so you can see some additional things at Fairgrounds in Pennachuck. I think if you ever went into that school before and you go in now, or you're going when it's done, but even now, you'd be amazed. You'd absolutely be amazed. It is turning into a real middle school from the old junior high days, and they will have much more space to conduct education, and I think the kids will love it.
Yeah, I saw those schools, so I think it would be great to see what the change in it.
Yeah, I mean, even if you drive by the school, you'll see a whole bunch of changes. Turned out really well. Jamie was very happy today when he saw everything. Any other questions from any of the aldermen or school board members? I can't remember which meeting I'm in. Nope. Okay, we don't need a non-public. Is there a motion to adjourn? Clerk can't do it. He's not a member. Alderman, yeah. Mrs. Raymond?
Oh, I can give it to Miss Gilio, or I'll make it.
Julio, do you want to?
Sure, I motion that we adjourn.
All right, the motion is to adjourn. Would the clerk please call a roll?
Alderman Dowd,
Yes.
Alderman Harry Gathright,
Yes?
Alderman Clee,
Yes.
Alderman Lou,
Yes.
Alderman Wilshire,
Yes.
Ms. Bishop,
Yes.
Ms. Brown,
Yes.
Ms. Gilio,
Yes.
and Ms. Raymond.
Yes.
And adjournment is approved 9-0, Mr. Chairman.
We're adjourned at 8:06. I just want to mention that the next meeting is Thursday, December 17th.
All right.
Okay, and we'll, just one real quick update on the purchase of the land for the access to the new middle school has been approved. Everything's been signed. Mayor's signed the purchase and sale. The deed's being done right now, and we'll have a closing hopefully soon.
Great.
So things are going along fine. All right.
Great. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Happy
Thank you.
Thanksgiving,
Thank you.
everybody.